So is it sunny?
No, it's a little overcast. It's due to become sunny at around about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this afternoon. You saw yesterday's sunset, though.
Yeah, I don't know how to say this, but it feels like this plan to be outside was just a way for you to show off.
It really wasn't. I was thinking that because this is the first midlifing of the new year with our new titles and everything. Well done, Simon, by the way. They sounded beautiful. I'm sure everybody's enjoyed them. Do you think they've heard them by now? Maybe not. Maybe we'll drop them now.
Now the pressure is for me to actually do them.
Yeah.
Oh.
For sure.
This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing.
So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, listeners, as well.
Happy New Year, ULs and FLs.
I'm just walking past Gary Lineker's house.
Now who's showing off? I
should,
can't make any such claims.
We could do a quick Vox Pops with Gary Lineker and say, Gary,
well, if I was just to run down to the local train station, which isn't, it's like about 5 minutes away, I can jump on a train, and in about 10 minutes I can be on the other side of town and I can stand outside Cristiano Ronaldo's house and see.
But I think he lives in Manchester now. You're more likely to bump into him at work, frankly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Bummer. Although he might be here for his family.
Oh, yes,
he might be here,
true.
doing the whole Boas Festas.
Yes.
Con familia.
So yes, happy New Year. And how was it all? How was your how was your New Year's Eve?
Well,
did you have a special New Year's Eve cocktail?
Yes, absolutely. It was some smoky. I don't know what I'm going to have tomorrow night. Stop asking me weird questions. It's weird talking about the future.
Yes, we are talking about the future. We're always talking about the future, of course, but it's just normally it doesn't matter so much.
But we are only a day away from the new year. 2 days.
It's true.
So how has your Christmas period been? The whole kind of
I see.
festive.
That's a nice way of asking the question. It's been okay, We cooked some very nice food, and I did make a panettone, which, for those of you who don't know, is excellent as French toast the next day.
Oh, of course it is.
Can you imagine?
Well, I can imagine because I made a bologna, which is also excellent as French toast next day.
I think you've mentioned this. Is that an enriched dough as well, isn't it?
Yeah, basically it's the Portuguese version of a panettone, but it's not as light as either a brioche. It's somewhere in between a bread and a cake.
Yes, which is panettone is like that as well. It's such a strange mixture of those two things. Yeah, yeah. So this is quite interesting in a way for me. Interesting because it feels. Because I'm slightly distracted and distracted just from being outside.
Yeah.
And so it means that I feel a little less able to come up with really fascinating things to talk about.
I think at the beginning of the year, I don't think we should be worried too much about really, really fascinating. This is a gentle start to the new year. What we are encouraging our ULs and FLs to do is put on their shoes, get out. Start the year as you mean to go on. So tell me, Simon, do you have any resolutions on the horizon?
You just asked me this last time about Christmas. I just don't do them.
You don't have traditions. I know that about Christmas, but I didn't know you don't have a notion of, I'm going to try this year. Or
No, I don't. I've never. It's partly because because of how arbitrary an end and the end of and the beginning of a year is. It seems like an arbitrary thing to use that as a moment to go, I'm going to do this now. I was
curious how you felt about the beginnings and ends of years. If it felt like something new, or if it just was like, it's just a day.
It's also a day in the Western calendar. Like it's a very, it's it's just so arbitrary. Yeah, so I don't. I've never been able to, even as a youngster. I would have thought it was just a slightly odd idea. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you, if you want to start that? Why wouldn't you start that on the 23rd of December, for example? Or, yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a Grinch again.
No, I don't think it's grinchy. I think it points to a really interesting thing that we talk about, this idea of New Year, but of course in the Southern Hemisphere it's nothing of the sort. It's midway through. If we understand New Year as being the point at which winter starts to end and we start to get the beginnings of a new cycle.
Yes, as the days,
yeah,
as they call them in Italian, chicken steps, when the light, when it starts very slowly, the days start to lengthen very slowly at the beginning, don't they?
Yeah. There's a concept, I think it comes from Germany, of the rough nights.
Rough nights?
Have you heard about this?
No.
So this is, I'm pretty sure it's pre-Christian. It's hard to say pre-Christian with a mouthful of face mask.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to wear it, not eat it.
Yeah, again, if you're walking up a hill and breathing, it keeps going in. But the rough nights, this German tradition, they kick off on the 24th of December. And the purpose is that you're supposed to record your dreams. Write them down, because your dreams
just that one
will give
night?
you a sense.
That one night?
No, I think it's for 12 nights.
Yeah.
So it sees you from your nativity period, although it wouldn't have been that when it was initially invented, into the kind of the changing of the lights.
Yeah.
As things, as you say, the chicken feet start to move forward, and you start to capture your dreams to see what it tells you about the year ahead.
And have you ever done this?
I did it last year. Danny sort of mentioned it, and I thought, oh, that sounds fun. And I forgot this year, although I have made a note of my dreams for the last 2 nights. They're utterly uninstructive, but there you go.
I've never been able to record my dreams. I've just sat on a bench, actually, by the way, and it says on it, chiseled into it, says Oliver and his dog Simon.
I love that.
Thank you. Has it? I don't even know how to begin this conversation. Because I find I'm so uninterested in it, but I'm trying to become interested in it, in the sense of, has looking at or listening to or writing down your dreams ever been of kind of a curiosity for you?
No, I don't think so, except in that sense of when somebody offers a task. I quite like the idea of being given scores. So for 12 days or 14 days or whatever, write down your dreams. I think that's interesting, not the dreams themselves, or the process of then thinking about what it might mean, because I'm not a Jungian.
You're not a Jungian?
I'm not. I am, however, walking past. It's a part of town where everybody is either doing gardening, house building, or roadworks, and may have made some errors in terms of my audio quality.
I think mine's just all going to be wind. It's been. I mean, and I can imagine some faithful listeners will go, well, what's new? Yes, all I've been doing is trying to find places where where it's sheltered. Yeah.
See, I'm fine for shelter, but man alive, can I find traffic. And Lisbon's one of those cities that is, well, I guess London's like this, isn't it? Constantly being redone.
Yeah. It's almost like it's sort of building on top of itself all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little
I think
bit
what's different. Yeah, what's different about here is that this is probably the first time it's happened.
Right.
In the sense that it's not things being knocked down and redone and knocked down and redone and knocked down and redone. We're still in the first sort of tranche of gentrification, and
is that money coming into the city?
Yeah.
And where is that money coming from?
Well, from all over the place. There's a lot of Russian and Chinese investors in big chunks of property.
Right.
From post 2008, so the global economic crash, what Portugal did was it decided to do the opposite of Britain. So instead of moving into austerity, it spent. So it invested in infrastructure.
Wow.
And as it started to do those sorts of things, it became more appealing to
investors,
to tourists.
Oh, and
to tourists initially, and then investors followed.
You mean it wasn't appealing to tourists before then?
No, central Lisbon, 15 years ago when we first started to come, was pretty run down. Oh, I'm sitting down now.
I was. I actually did have a question I was going to ask you.
Go ahead and ask
it. And then I thought I wasn't sure if it was a question I'd have asked you before, though. That's the thing. I couldn't remember.
Oh well.
So I'm going to ask it, and then
go on.
And then you can say, "Oh, yeah, you've asked me that before," and then we can just walk in silence.
I love that.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about. I was thinking about what is it that you're good at, and I was thinking about it not in terms of like you're good at making bread, or you're good at baking, or you're good at making up words. I was thinking more about I don't know how else to say it, but deeper things that weren't just things that weren't quite so I'll say frivolous, but that's not quite right either. But yeah, and I was wondering what does that? Have I asked you that before?
I think we might have had a conversation that is adjacent to this, but I don't know that I ever answered it because I think I probably gave the answer then that I'm going to give now. I've got no idea.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm good at. I mean...
What about in relation to people?
I don't know.
Like, do you think you're good at... Well, do you think you're good at being with people? Do you think you're good, like... What is it about... Like, do you think you're a good teacher? Put it that way. There's one question.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm a good teacher.
And what is it that makes you a good teacher?
I think that I...
Just going past someone in a tent, by the way.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
That's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I assume that this is somebody who's unhoused.
I imagine.
That's in a tent.
Yeah. Also, because you're not supposed to.
Yeah, no, that was my question. I wasn't being facetious when I said that, because I don't know the area, and if anybody's doing, is there any campsites or anything like that?
No. It's basically rough sleeping, but in a tent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah. So what makes you good at teaching? Do you think? Yes, I'm a good teacher. What makes you good at it?
I think I'm quite responsive in a space. I'm quite good at negotiating people's confusion.
Well, what makes you good at that, though?
I think it's mostly that, and this might seem like a really strange thing to say from me, especially to our ULs and FLs who might question if this is a true story. I think I'm relatively good at listening. I know today would not be an indication of me being good at listening, because I've just monologued as I've walked up a hill. I should have been asking you questions and then being quiet so that I wouldn't have been breathing quite so heavily.
No, I think that all of our faithfuls and unfaithfuls would like to hear you hear some heavy breathing from you.
Well, they got that.
But okay, so that means that your capacity to respond is based on your capacity to listen. So you're saying you're good at listening.
Yeah, I
in that context in particular, or just generally?
No, in that context in particular. I don't think in general I'm a good listener. I think I can sometimes miss things. I'm not. No, I think. Oh God, I don't. This is such a hard question, Simon. What are you good at? What are you good at?
What am I good at? I was. I slightly prepared because.
You son of a son of a
because
gun.
I thought you would ask me back. You would return you would volley the question back to me at some point.
It's not returning the favour, is it? Because you dropped me in the shit and then went, "Oh, here's a prepared answer that's going to be really eloquent."
Is, what I realised was that I prepared in as much as I thought. Actually, I don't know, because I just all that came to me was I just have a feeling like I just don't have a lot of confidence at the moment. And so the idea that I would somehow be able to go, I think I'm good at this, didn't sit with me at all. Like I just went, oh, I can't say what that is, because it just like going through a period of where my confidence is just really feels really is a kind of like a little bit fragile, a little bit like it's lacking, which is getting in the way of, you might say, just thinking something positive about myself. I don't want to overstate that, but it's quite a curious thing. So no, I didn't prepare in the sense that I didn't. I tried to, and then I just rammed into a wall.
Oh, mate, I'm so sorry.
I know, it sucks. It totally sucks.
You have had a really, really torrid couple of years, though, haven't you?
It's been it's been tricky. Yep, it's been tricky for sure. Just dodging two people and their dogs. So many dogs.
Yeah.
And and I don't want to overstate this either, because it's that's the thing about any time one's talking about oneself, it's very hard to know what other people's experiences are like. But I think also one of the things about COVID or the pandemic is the quite acute decrease in social situations. That's a very obvious thing to say. But I think it means that the ways in which we regulate, or I regulate, I'm not sure regulate's the right word, but am in relationship to other people, they become really abstract. Other people become abstract, and so I'm not, and those kinds of settings become very, very, almost as if they don't really happen anymore. And so it's a little bit like the way in which I understand myself in relation to others has disappeared. And so it's like a way of understanding myself. And I don't think we always understand ourselves in relation to others. And I don't mean in a sort of odious way, like just comparing myself to others. I don't mean it like that at all. But like it's, and so I don't, who am I without when I'm not with these people?
Have people become less real to you?
Yeah, I think that's it. They become text messages. Yeah, bubbles on a screen.
So there's that sense that while we've never been, oh God, I'm just going to sound like such a fucking hoary old cliche now, aren't I? Whilst we've never been more connected, we've never been further apart. Oh, sorry, I'm going past ABBA.
I didn't hear that at all.
That's because I just went past ABBA and it was playing really, really loudly.
ABBA?
Yeah, it wasn't the actual ABBA. I think it's just a radio playing ABBA. It would be great if ABBA had just rocked up into the middle of Muraria.
Because we could just turn it over to them.
Yeah, if you could, Benny, Bjorn, I forgot the names.
I've been I've always been, since we started, I've been trying to get the words "Dancing Queen" into the title.
And there we go. I just set it up for you. So, what I was saying, which I then went on to say, God, that is such a cliche, was it's that thing where we've never been more connected, but also potentially never felt further apart, because we can just drop into people's lives in a really abstract way, can't we?
Yeah, you don't mean just you and me either. You mean just people generally.
I don't mean you and me at all. I mean people. I do mean people. And
but also they're also like jittery people. I don't mean jittery psychologically. I mean technologically. In and out of phase, where their lips don't quite match the where the sound is. They're out of sync, and so there's something about that which, and I don't, and so I mean, I've got sort of slightly off, but so I guess then I don't know what it means to be. What am I getting at here? Except something like, well, who are we? Who is anyone if you're not in relation to other people? And so there's something about the quality of those relationships or those relations, which meant when you asked me the question, and when I asked myself the question, the other day, I was thinking, oh God, I don't know. Like nothing came to mind.
Yeah, that's. I hadn't thought about that idea of a sense of self being reflected back from other people, and possibly, you asked me what am I good at? And I say I don't know. And then you say, what about teaching? So you effectively set me up with something. Yeah. And and I didn't mean that in a negative way. I just meant you line me up with something that I can make a response to. And of course, I've been teaching the entire time.
Yes.
I've been because of the nature of the subject area that I'm in. It's been the first to open and the last to close. So I've been in rooms with people quite a lot. So I think that sense of isolation and that not being with people, I haven't felt as strongly. I think I've been noticing this, that I talked to people about them missing their families, and it's like, okay, well, I don't think that the rhythm with my family has changed very much, because mostly my family is, in another country, and I see them some number of times per year, and it depends upon my
so that hasn't
balance.
changed so much.
No, that hasn't changed. They don't ever come to the UK anymore. I go to see them, and if I can't get away, I can't get away, and that's a rhythm that is, that's probably 15 years old now.
Yes,
so it's quite normal. And I don't think I've missed social interaction in the way that many people talk about having missed it, mostly because I've had it through work, through officially sanctioned means.
Yeah, and those are huge things, I think.
But we've slid off. I'm going to walk away a bit. We've slid off that thing that you just said about not knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Which isn't the same as not knowing what you're good at. That feels bigger.
Yeah, it does. It's because I guess it was like a little bit like the sort of sense of how do I say, like the ground being sort of really unstable. And so how is it that I could say, oh, I'm good at this when everything's so shaky, if you understand what I mean. It's like I imagine that one needs a reasonably stable base in order to go, okay, I feel like this, or I think I'm like this, or I'm good at. And so I guess I was extrapolating, if that's the right word, from just going back past Gary Lineker's house again. What am I good at? I think if I were to stretch, I'd say I think I'm good at conversation. That if I meet people and I'm in a social setting, I feel like I'm good at conversation. That's what I would say.
And are there any moments where that fails you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Actually, it's so interesting that I would say I'm good at something, and then your immediate response is to go, when does that fail you?
Well,
because absolutely, of course. When does it fail me?
There's a reason I ask about it failing you. It's not just because I'm a dick, although of course I'm that too. I'm getting lots of stairs right now. I'm just going to put my head down and keep walking.
Yeah, good on you.
Because I'm in a very touristy part of town. Oh, fuck, I've just come out by the side of the castle. Oh, that was a mistake. So many people. Anyway, the reason I was saying it is, when you asked me if I was good at something, I think I was going to say, I'm good at talking to people. I think that was the first thing that I wanted to say.
Yes.
But then I remembered all the times that I can't do it. Instead of remembering,
you went to doubt immediately.
Yeah, I immediately doubted myself and thinking, oh, maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm not good at talking to people, because I can list all these times where I'll start a conversation and just like it dries up. I don't know how to engage with people. Parakeets.
Yes, because when you asked me the question, when you asked me about when does it fail me, or it was more that what came to mind was, yes, in fact more recently in my life, I reckon, when especially with when you go into a room with a lot of people you don't know, especially work related, I find that very hard. If it's not work related, it's no issue at all. Like, I'm pretty comfortable in dealing with that situation and just asking people questions, finding out things about what what's been going on, and whatever, just simple things. But in a work environment where it feels like it's loaded, and there's a part of it which is about that fatal word networking. That in order to achieve something in my job, I need to get something out of this meeting with this group of people. That there's some kind of unwritten or unspoken rule about that, which leaves me kind of desperate.
We wandered all over the map again a little bit there, didn't we? To get where? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't think we need to know. The other thing I was thinking about, which I think is related, was we've joked previously about wanting to make lawyer money, and then during the week you said that you quite liked the idea of it. I can't remember the word you used. Was it niche or?
Oh, it could have been. That's a word
I
like. I do like the word niche.
The thing I was just reading last night. I just finished reading a book called, which was suggested to me by a faithful listener, actually. A book called 4,000 Weeks, which is on average the number of weeks in a human life. So if you live till you're 76, then you just have 4,000 weeks on planet Earth, and not many. And
no, it's really not when you say it like that.
No, it's not. It's a really good little book. It's kind of like an anti-productivity book. And bills itself.
How did that sit with you?
Oh, don't you dare! And I loved it. I lapped it up. I read it in a day and a half. And yes, it's like an anti-productivity book. But I did take notes. I couldn't stop myself doing that. One of the things it says, just towards the end, it just talks about hobbies, and I just love that this is something we do for pleasure, and that it brings a certain number of people each week pleasure. And I just think I wouldn't want that to change at all. I really wouldn't. I really love that there is no other reason to do this. It's not for a particular thing. It's not an evidence of something. It's not going to contribute to this or make us more connected to these. And I just I think that is gold for 2022. If I were to make a New Year's resolution, I would think just long may that continue, that feeling. I don't necessarily mean with this podcast, but just anyone who's pursuing things just for their own thing, for their own sake. Oh, just a jay just flew by. Boy, jays are nasty creatures, and I just so love that. I really do. So thanks, Lee, for putting the idea of a New Year's resolution into my mind. Yeah, you know how I, in the last episode, I mentioned the light shining on the house.
Yes, you did, and I said ninja style, go and sort that out.
Yes, so what I did was which you know already, is I sent a letter. I did send a letter to them, and I put it in their post box. Within minutes, hours, I got a text message from the people, because I left my phone number with them, saying, we're so sorry, we will get it fixed. We'll get an electrician to get it fixed in the new year. And I was wanting to ask you a question, and I sent a message saying, that's so kind of you, thank you very much. Do you think I should make them a loaf of bread before it's fixed to increase the likelihood they will get it fixed, or wait until they get it fixed and then reward them? Shall I pay it forward or pay it back?
Pay it forward.
Really?
You know the answer.
In advance?
Yeah, you know the answer.
In advance.
Because if you do it the other way around, you will always feel that something transactional happened.
But there's the other thing, which is that I'm guilting them into making sure it happens by giving it to them in advance.
You're showing kindness, and you're putting faith in them.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Kindness and faith rather than carrot and stick.